Hello everyone, I hope you've all had a great weekend, Halloween weekend, despite this year being what it is. This will be the second new releases video. I will showcase some of the stuff that's a little older, not old, but a little older, just to sort of catch you up with things in case you missed it and in case you're even interested. But first of all, a couple of days ago, Friday, I think the 8th single of this year that I've done with the project Bright Shining Light. The new single came out called Such a Beautiful Thing. Sounds really, really good. It was actually mixed by the legendary Kevin Shirley, who worked with Led Zeppelin and Rush, Aerosmith, Journey, Joe Bonamassa, Iron Maiden, bunch of people. So it sounds really good. It's on Spotify right now. Again, I will include the links to all of these releases that I talk about here below. So check them out, and please don't forget to subscribe and share this video so we can start building this family of mutual nutcases that we are. Next up is a movie that I got to work on called Anastasia, Once Upon a Time. It's a video for a movie for kids and teenagers, but I actually saw it and it came out really good. Special thanks to my super dear and insanely talented friend Jeremy Rubolino, who is one of the premier string arrangers, horn arrangers, great songwriter, in the whole world. Worked with tons of big people, produced albums for Bruce Kulick of Kiss, and worked with Alice Cooper, and just a multi-platinum Grammy Award monster person. Super sweetheart. He got me involved in this movie because he did the score for the whole thing. So I got to produce with them on a song, and I got to play a lot of guitar on the various music pieces of it. It's pretty cool because it takes place in the 80s, so we got to do a lot of the old school classic 80s guitars that I've done a few albums with those sounds, so it was not a strange situation for me to get those sounds going. But the movie came out really good, and it's always a special thing to be part of movies. I've been a part of some really cool ones, including Gorillas in the Mist with Sigourney Weaver. I think that won like 2 Oscars. Alice in Wonderland with Johnny Depp. I worked on the Tokyo Hotel song on that one, and even though it's not a good movie at all, but the Baltic Storm movie about the boat, Estonia boat, that sadly sank in the 90s, killed almost 900 people, mostly Swedes. Very sad situation, but I was involved in working on the music for that and playing on it with Donald Sutherland and a bunch of other people acting in it. Not a good movie, but special for many reasons. So see if you can find Anastasia, Once Upon a Time. It's a pretty cool movie. I've done a lot of work producing and working with dear friends from Norway called Hansen-Randow, producing their albums and a lot of their singles. Love working with them, very unique sound. They've had even some fairly big hits, especially in Norway, with songs that we've done. The last single we did came out earlier this year, I think. It's from the second album, if I'm correct, that we did, and the song is called Out of Blue Comes Green. It's on Spotify, link below. Really nice band, so please check them out. I had the honor and pleasure of being a dear friend and getting to work with the fantastic singer and enormously beautiful soul Tony Mills, singer for TNT and Shy and a bunch of bunch of great rock bands and rock projects. He sadly passed away, I think it's about a year ago already. Scary enough, time moves too fast, due to cancer, and he fought one of the bravest fights I've seen with anyone dealing with that awful disease. But we managed to write and do his whole last solo album called Beyond the Law together. Pete Nudek and some other dear friends involved as well. It is one of my favorite rock albums of the later years. Came out really strong. Tony was a great singer, and for the sake of great rock and roll, you should check it out. And for the sake of the memory of this beautiful person, you should check it out. Of course, link below. The one person I've done more albums with than anyone else is my old dear friend Frederick Slama from France and his project AOR. We actually just finished a new album that's going to come out in January on Paris Records, called The Ghost of LA. And we actually did the 100th song together for this album, and we've done other work outside of even AOR albums. Some of the older stuff we did was also reissued recently, and I'm pretty much involved in almost all of the albums he ever did, and we're up to more than 20 albums, I think. So below there's a link to his Spotify artist page where you can basically find all of the albums. It is a COVID-19 year, it's the Corona year, it's the awful 2020 that we all want to be gone soon. And a lot of people did cover versions of songs in this, sort of typical videos everyone records at home and makes a video. And I had a bunch of offers to do these. I actually turned most of them down because I wanted to focus on writing new music and working on my normal day-to-day work, and not to do too many of these. But my dear friend Gabe Trier from Argentina, he wanted to do a cover of a Police song, and he brought in my other dear friend Bruce Kulick from Kiss, the great Joel Hoekstra from Whitesnake, Night Ranger and Cher and everyone, Andreas Kisser, Monty Pittman who plays with Madonna, David Palau, my dear Spanish friend that I've toured together with Bobby Kimball and stuff. So really great guitar players. The video is out on YouTube. I know there was talk about it being released for maybe digital on Spotify, so hopefully it will be out. So the link to the YouTube video is below if you want to check it out. Earlier this year I decided also to remaster a bunch of albums that were never released digitally, and make sure that I got the sound up and that they were finally available on all digital platforms, Spotify and iTunes and so on. So I did my first two guitar albums, Less Is More and Skeleton. They were actually released, both of them, in 1995. Less Is More features one of the songs that I did with Jeff and Mike Porcaro, as well as David Page and Steve Porcaro, the backbone of Toto. I wrote this song with Jeff and Mike Porcaro. I had the start of an idea, and we wrote it in the studio as the last song we did while recording the first Radioactive album. So we basically just put the pieces together and did one take. It's 10 minutes long, and it features some of the greatest drumming that Jeff Porcaro ever did. He plays stuff that you rarely got to hear him play. Even his dad, Joe Porcaro, who also sadly passed away, which of course Jeff Porcaro did in 1992, and his wonderful dear brother, Mike Porcaro. Both of these people were among my best friends for many years. Mike lost his battle to Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS. Just awful, but even their dad, Joe Porcaro, mentioned in interviews that he thought that this song features some of the coolest drumming of Jeff Porcaro. Skeleton as well. They sound much better now, remastered, more punch, more power to them. And I also decided to do the first 2 Prisoner albums that were recorded about 20 years ago. Me and Ricky Dellin and Gay Running and Pierre Wensberg. During the same time, I did an album under the name Rainmaker, together with Gay Running, singing out of this world great. He was by far one of the best singers on the planet back then, I think, still great singer. And the legendary Tony Franklin on bass. We did an album under the name Rainmaker that we loved how it came out, but again, it was on this crappy record label, and they sent it to somebody to master before release, and the guy completely screwed up the whole production. It sounded so bad that we actually couldn't even listen to it. Thankfully, I found the final mixes unmastered, so I could remaster it, and it's finally released sounding the way it should sound. Right before I started my Radioactive project, I had a band called Speedy Gonzales with Thomas Wikström, the singer, and a bunch of old friends, Thomas Hallström, one of my oldest friends in life, and Dalton from the band Treat as a drummer and so on. And we recorded a demo of a bunch of songs, and we were almost signed to a label in the States, but the band fell apart, and which led me to go and do my Radioactive stuff. And years later, I wanted to record the versions of the songs we had and make an album. So me and Thomas Wikström basically put it together and brought in our dear friend Marcel Jacob from Yngwie Malmsteen and Talisman on bass. Again, Marcel died some years ago. He was one of the greatest bass players who ever walked this planet, and an enormously cool person to be around. A very unique soul, somebody we all miss a lot, all the time. Some of the songs in different versions ended up on Radioactive later, so it could be fun if you know these albums to go and check it out. I had a project thing that I called Decon Street Project, which was basically a bunch of demos that never made it into albums and stuff. I was always sitting on a bunch of stuff that was really good, but it wasn't released. So I decided to put together an album of just the demos and just call it Decon Street Project. People loved it. It's demos of various styles, even though it's mostly rock, but so the sound and the production is different between the songs, but it features a lot of cool people singing and playing on them, a lot of famous names. So I actually ended up doing 2 of these albums, and again remastered them and released them on all platforms, just so we have a version out digitally. You can still find CDs, used CDs of most of these albums everywhere. My first albums, Less is More and Skeleton, usually go for hundreds of dollars on eBay, which is quite amazing. So now you can get them for free. I decided a few years ago to start releasing new instrumental songs, and I haven't really put any effort into promoting them, but I think there are some of the finer songs that I've done, the instrumental songs. The first one was called Heartstrings. It's a very long, almost Pink Floydish kind of sounding song that I like. The second one was called Dreamland. It followed the same kind of vibe. I got a bunch of songs that I'm almost done with. I'm gonna start releasing this way as well. But also, I mean, the greatest thing in my whole life is my little daughter Hollie, who's 5 years old today. And she's in love with music. Every time she sees a piano with the guitars in my room, she has to start playing them, and she sings every day here at home. So I managed a couple of years ago to record her. We were just about to fall asleep, and she started singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, but in Swedish, and I managed to record it on my iPhone. And I've always done a version of that old Christmas song the way that Jimi Hendrix would play it. It's just a thing that I played for years and years and years. So the day after, I made a version finally, and I managed to put her singing in the end. So it's on Spotify, iTunes, everywhere. And it's me featuring Hollie. I hope she's gonna like this when she gets older. Be proud of the fact that she actually released something when she was a couple of years old, and it's pretty amazing how well she sings in tune and how pretty that little voice is. So you should definitely check that one out. Again, just for the love of the season, I think it was last year or the year before, I did an instrumental version of the Christmas song Silent Night. I was just in the mood and recorded it and released it. If you want, you should follow my. I have an artist page on Spotify, and the link is below. And I have a work page where it's almost 1,000 songs from all kinds of albums that I worked on. All of these links are below, so go and check them out, and I will keep you updated on the coming releases. There's a bunch of stuff coming. So tomorrow it's Monday. It's going to be Lick of the Week. I got a cool idea coming. And I've been working on several videos, music related, including how it was working with Deep Purple, working with Paul Stanley, working with Alice Cooper, stuff like this. Got some cool gear videos about the Evertune systems and guitars and nerdy geeky stuff. Of course, the Kemper, they just released a new version with the drives in it. Sounds fantastic. So there's a lot coming, and I thank you all for all the cool feedback messages and everything. So please subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow with Lick of the Week. Ciao.